Well, good Saturday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up those football gods. Wake up this morning, guys. It is Saturday. It is so busy. Shout out to my JMU Dukes who fell a little bit short last night in the Division 1AA semifinals against North Dakota State. Jeez. They lost 20-14. They had another great season. Every year they are in the playoffs. You know, close. They're close. And shout out to them because they're moving from the CAA to the Sun Belt Conference. And that's a big step up. They've become actually a powerhouse when it comes to football. Back in the day, I actually played football, or as Charles Haley would say, you were on the team. I actually played football, and that's cool. Back in JMU's infancy of football in 1984, and they have come a long ways from back in those days. Hopefully, they'll put a few more Hall of Famers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But here we go, guys. It is Saturday. We've got football this afternoon. It's crazy. We got football. When you know there's football on Saturday, it's because the season is winding down. And if you take a look, this is where it gets to be sad, guys. You see the clock, right? We are 57 days, 8 hours, 44 minutes, and 40 seconds away from the Super Bowl. Less than 2 months. That's all that remains to the NFL season. Now, in some regards, we kind of got it, we got it a little bit better because the Super Bowl was almost in mid-February, and February is the shortest month of the year. And then come the middle of March, we've got free agency. And that's going to be big for the Cowboys because at the moment we have about 31 free agents, some of which we want to say, boy, get the hell out of here. Some of the ones you want to say, hey, come on over here. We want to sign you with the contract. So we'll be busy then. So there really isn't any offseason except for that 1 month, which is good because it'll give us a chance to kind of recharge our batteries and get ready for next year. But I'm not ready to talk about next year. We still have this year. And the next couple of weeks are the Dallas Cowboys' chance to get themselves right. It's division. Anything can happen in the division. Anything. We saw the Giants go down to Washington on basically an offsides on a field goal kick, which ended up being a loss. But we've seen the Giants that are just terrible. But don't ever sleep on a team that you think is bad. These same Giants ended up beating the Eagles, who right now are fighting for a playoff spot. So don't take them lightly, but the Dallas Cowboys, if they're playing their game, should be able to use this almost as an a preseason game. Damn it. Sorry, I'm just running on fumes here. So much to do, and I'm trying to get this done. I got to get to the shop. I've got more orders that I have to send you guys the invoice for this morning. Got to go out and get them built so we can get them sent out and all that. So forgive me, I'm a little bit off, but I'm trying to get there. The Cowboys should be able to use this game against the Giants as a tune-up. They should be able to, facing Washington at home on a short week for them because they're playing on Tuesday, be able to use that as a get-right game. Hopefully all of the COVID cases that have gone through Washington will be done and we don't get any of that spread here because COVID may be the season killer for some teams, although the NFL has decided we're not going to make you forfeit the games. We're going to go ahead and move them after all. Forget what we said before. We're sending you a new memo here. Yeah. Lucky them because, we got hit with like Amari Cooper and things like that. Nothing happened for us. But be that as it may, the question is, and the focus has been on one Dak Prescott. Dashing back, trashing Dak is back. Prescott, he's just a dink and dunker. He's an average quarterback. He's a bum. It's great that we got a bum that's leading us to a 9-4 season because we had a bunch of bums last year and we went to a 6-10 season last year. So we must be doing something right, at least for us to have the number 2 offense in the NFL. Zeke Elliott was asked about Dak Prescott if he's in a slump, because that's the big thing. Everybody's asking, is he in a slump? What do you think? And Zeke Elliott actually said something that I've kind of been saying, and I know the Dak haters will say, you're just making excuses. Zeke said, there's 11 of us out there, so I wouldn't say you could put anything on one player just because it takes 11 guys to make a play. I think we all need to play better, the whole offense collectively. And let's be clear, we've missed Tony Pollard now for a week. We've missed CeeDee Lamb for a game and a half. We missed Amari Cooper for 2 games. We've missed Tyron Smith now. This will be the 4th game he's missed. We've reshuffled the offensive line on a weekly basis. We've almost had a different lineup starting. I think we're going back to Connor Williams from the Connor McGovern, is going to be the great replacement for Connor Williams, and we found out he can't get to the second level to get to the linebackers, and that's a problem. So we've reshuffled the offensive line, and Zeke is averaging about 3.5 yards a carry. If you want to talk about a slump, why don't we talk about Zeke Elliott in that slump too? Because Zeke is not there as well. And at this time of year, we have to be able to run the football as well. The weather starts getting bad. We're going to be up in New York. Currently on the East Coast, it's about 60 degrees today, but the temperature is going to drop tonight. Tomorrow's only supposed to be 45 in the Washington, D.C. area. So I would imagine that in New York it'll be a little bit chillier. And the thing about New York is that stadium, the Meadowlands, it's kind of like a wind tunnel. So the conditions aren't exactly ideal late into the season. But again, the Cowboys should lose this as a get-right game. So I'm going to cut this morning short, but I want to go through here, and I want to play this. Should the Dallas Cowboys be concerned about Dak Prescott?
All right, so Jerry has his share of concerns. Let me start with my quarterback here, Tim Hasselbeck. As you watch Dak, and Dominique and I were talking about it at length yesterday, as you watch Dak right now, he just doesn't look like the same player that he was the first 6-7 weeks of the season. What are you seeing?
I got to be honest, Greeny, I don't feel like I'm seeing that. This idea that something's wrong with him or he's playing really poorly, I can't get on board with. Look, every game for good players isn't going to be a great game. Like, that's just the reality of it. Tom Brady a couple weeks ago against Indy was not great. Look, a lot of people think he's going to win the MVP. Kyler Murray threw 2 really bad interceptions on Monday night. Like, he's in the MVP race. Like, not every single game you play is going to be your best game. And when I look at Dallas and I look at Dak from the time he came back from his calf injury, albeit against Atlanta, nearly 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Similar thing against Las Vegas, less than a month ago. And so I look at an offense that's being quarterbacked by a guy that's thrown 24 touchdowns and 10 picks, that scored the 2nd most touchdowns in the NFL this year. And I feel like we're panicking because we just focus so much on Dallas. Like, I'm not worried about Dak Prescott and his ability to play well down the stretch of the season.
Interesting. David, how about you?
I couldn't disagree more. And I tell you what, I feel like I'm not even watching the same games, because I understand what Tim's talking about, and we can point to his numbers. Last 7 games, 7 TDs, 6 interceptions. So we can point to the whole season. Something looks off. Something looks different to me. He doesn't look like the same guy that he did early in the season. He was on a tear. I mean, he was absolutely killing it. You see out the gates, and 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns in games, and going back and forth with Tom Brady, that guy, I don't see him anymore. I see more misses than I've seen from him in a while consistently, even when he does have time. So I think he's struggling. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I know Dak's a stud, but the last 6-7 games, it hasn't looked like the same Dak Prescott to me.
I feel similarly, Tim. I don't mean to hold everybody out here, but Tim, let me come back to you. And there's some speculating maybe the calf is not 100%. He looks a little more hesitant to run in situations than he might normally. I'll give you one more thought here. Go ahead.
I don't know how we're saying 6-7 weeks. Like, we're heading into week 15. Week 12, he threw the ball 47 times for 375 yards, threw 2 touchdowns and no picks. Like, Like, that's not 6 and 7 weeks of bad football. And, like, I referenced, like, Brady's game against Indianapolis. He threw for, like, 220 yards and did, like, there's part of it, I think, that's, like, we're so uber focused. Like, has he run less? Yeah, I think he's run less. Like this past weekend against Washington, Washington's a good defense. He started off the game poorly, made a couple bad decisions, threw late down the middle. Like, again, not everything is going to be perfect all the time, even for great players. And I think, part of that, I think, is that, look, that's just how a season goes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was a turnover machine at the beginning part of the year. And look, that happens. Like, to say, like, hey, what's wrong with somebody that's got a big body of work of playing well and still is making good plays? Look, that's still what I see when I watch Dak Prescott play quarterback in that offense.
Okay, fair enough. We have a disagreement. Diana, how about you?
Well, I see it this way. First of all, a defensive coordinator in the league shared with me that teams are actually blitzing less, right? So that's part of the game plan here for this Dallas offense that looks a little flat. Their run game isn't what it was those first 6 weeks that we're talking about, where Dak looked really well. It's obvious the run game needs to be there. When he has to drop back, read these defenses that are really turning up the pressure because they're not expecting the run as much anymore. This is where Dak, I think, is struggling a bit. I think that's part of it. It's the offense, the play calling, the lack of the run game. And then maybe there is a little bit of a mental block right now.
So, I mean, I think they stopped blitzing because Dak is too smart for him. And I think that's what happened. And I know Tim and I talked about this a bunch of times early in the year. Dak was dissecting those defenses. And when you blitz quarterbacks, you tend to not want to blitz the veterans, the smart guys. You don't blitz Tom Brady. He's going to find, because your blitzes give you weaknesses in coverage. I think what he's seeing a lot more is a little bit softer coverage, which happens to be the case around the league. I'm not sure that he can't figure it out. Or no, I am sure that he can figure it out. But this is just a slump. To Tim's point, part of it was, I think back to Aaron Rodgers, first game of the year. Like, we can pick out these situations. When you have such a resume like Dak Prescott has, you give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think anyone's arguing that last week's, 9 QBR was a good game for him.
Lowest in his career.
Late game interception. No one's arguing that was good, but no one is panicking. He's going to be fine. He's had a rough couple games with some bad breaks and a couple of bad decisions, but it's nothing to be concerned about.
Yeah. David, quick final thought, David, go.
It's not one game. It's the last 6 games. He's got 6 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. That's not good. That's 6 games of a body of work. It's not like it's just one game we're pointing to.
I got to be.
Okay, so is it time to panic? I don't think so, because we look at all of the things that went in there into that. Yeah, Dak is part of the problem. Dak is. But so is the running game. You'll remember, if you remember back when I was projecting numbers that we were looking at some point in the season, we were looking at Zeke, as well as Tony Pollard, both being 1,000-yard running backs. We were looking at Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, all being 1,000-yard receivers. And the thing is that has changed in this time. And you have to understand that when one thing's working good, it makes another thing good. When the running game is running great, teams have to put more people in the box, which gives you more one-on-one matchups. When you end up losing your number one receiver and your second receiver and things, and even your tight ends and things, it changes what happens. All of these things, we will be fine, guys. We have some time here. If Tyron Smith is done for the season, we have some time against some teams that aren't quite as good to get the offensive line together. We have some time to go ahead and rest Zeke and let his leg get a little bit better. We have time between now and the playoffs to get right. And that's what I believe. So with that being said, I believe I better get my hind parts back up here in the workshop and get these footballs put together, go get those put together, go get some more wood. I got to fix some siding from my mama. I got to pick up the 3-foot sub because the 3-foot sub is undefeated. And I got to get some more chicken wings because we need chicken wings, of course, for Joe Boo Sports. And with all that going on, you know how we roll. It's time to get up out of here. And if you sent me an email last night, and I think there was like 4 of you guys that wanted to get racks. I know Sheila Neal wanted a mug rack and things like that. I will send you out an invoice here in the next few minutes and things, and we will get started on those, and we'll try and see if we can get those things out Monday. If you're ordering anything past Monday, I can't guarantee that we'll get it there by Christmas. I'll do everything I can to get it out as quick as possible. That's why I'm getting some more wood. I'm literally just making a bunch of the Joe Bardys right now and getting them painted so that way we can say, hey, we've got a blue and white, or we've got a blue, silver, and white, one right here. We can pack it and ship it and get it out of here. If it's custom-wise, I may not have enough time to get it done, but we're going to do everything we can to get it to you. So with that being said, I got to get to work.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is